We have some Western myths that have been given us about water. Neptune and Poseidon reigning over the oceans, Venus and Aphrodite rising from the sea, and thousands of nymphs and sprites that allegedly rule over rivers, creeks, springs, and fountains. Now, all of these traditions affirm water as life-giving and restorative. From the cleansing power of waterfalls, rivers, oceans, fountains, and our own tears. From baptismal fonts to the healing pools of hot springs and natural grottos, to the sacred waters of Lourdes in France, the Dead Sea in Israel, the Long Island Sound, and to the backyard bird bath. Water is important. It also holds a significant place in our lives. Water covers most of the surface of our planet and is so essential to our survival that while we can live without food for weeks, we can only survive for a few days without water. It's a precious elixir. Water can be a source of beauty and great awe, as well as a destructive source of fear, as we often witness in the wake of hurricanes like Katrina, Irene, and Sandy, and other water-related disasters around the globe. However, with all of water's power and beauty, it also possesses a mystical and spiritual dimension. It's connected to ancient powers that have existed from the beginning of time. Throughout time, all cultures have revered water's life-giving properties. Tibetan shamans believe that the forces of nature are alive and that spirits reside in the waterfalls and the rivers. In India, the Ganges River runs for over 1,500 miles from the Himalayas to the Bay of Bengal, and it's believed that washing in these waters purifies the recipients of all sins. The Japanese brought offerings to the rain god Kawakami each year. Ancient Egyptians revered the Nile as a source of fertility and abundance, believing that death involved the soul's journey across the river Styx. Now, in the Christian scriptures, the book of Genesis tells the story of creation beginning when the Spirit of God moved over the surface of the waters. And after that, story after story about water is recounted throughout the Old Testament, from Noah and his ark with the destruction of the world by water, to Moses striking the rock, producing water in the desert, saving the lives of the Hebrews, to the parting of the Red Sea that allowed their escape to freedom from the wicked Pharaoh, and the drowning of his army as they continued their pursuit after them. The spiritual significance and the potential of water as the source of life continues over into the New Testament, with the baptism of Jesus at the hands of John the Baptist, and the first miracle attributed to Jesus, with the transformation of water into wine. Now, as Unitarian Universalists, it is my supposition that collectively we recognize and honor the significant place that water holds in our lives. Otherwise, this ritual of gathering our water would not continue to be celebrated year after year. This morning we gather, carrying gifts of our summer, symbols of the water that has been present in our lives, which we have been present to. These symbols may call to mind light summer breezes, dewy mornings, misty evenings, or thunderstorms. Or they may call to mind moments at the oceanside or lakeside pools or riversides. We may have found ourselves in the presence of water during a moment of grief or birth or rebirth. However, the core symbolism of the water communion is that we all come from water. As a species on a planet where life began in the ocean. As mammals who float in amniotic fluid as we are readied for birth. As beings whose cells are mostly water. And yet, we are separate from each other. And we have been apart, since there tends to be a slowing down and a different rhythm in the summer months, even in churches like this one, that have services and religious education right on through the summer. But now we are reuniting. We're separate and together, the way water scatters into rain and streams and clouds and springs and ponds and puddles, and yet flows together again and again, one great planetary ocean. Not only is no drop of water superior to any other, all water comes from the same source. So it is indeed a blessed day as this community of faith comes together, marking the beginning of a new church year. We are here to not only celebrate the ingathering with the blending of diverse waters from our lives, we're here to uplift the gathering and blending of hopes that you bring to and for this congregation. And now, I invite you to come up and share with us the water that you have been present to this summer, and also share with us just one hope or dream that you have for us this year.
We have water from the Jersey Shore, from our pool in Bayhead, from the Maine coast where we visited relatives, and from the Fisher Cottage and Thousand Islands. And our hope or dream is?
I'd like to see our fellowship grow and thrive.
Definitely.
I'm going to bring water that hopefully will be resilience and also equal amounts of continuity and transformation.
Yeah. Okay. This summer we spent our time near the St. Lawrence River, so that's representing the St. Lawrence River water, and
And we are so thrilled that we had some guests from UUFLB share it with us this summer. And our hope is for another great year here.
Hi, so if you've been here more than a couple of years, you might remember my parents, Scott and Karen Thompson, who moved to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, which was a really big deal because I was living with them at the time. So I have some symbolic water to represent the apartment I just got in New Hope, right on the Delaware River. So I'm really excited about that. And I also have some symbolic water from the Philadelphia Folk Festival, which was one of Scott's favorite traditions. I thought it was a tradition that was over, but he was ridiculous enough to drive up the 8 hours to do it with us. And this was my 20th Folk Festival, and we're going to do it again next year.
I am bringing the water from the drops in the bucket from the story. To me, this represents the energy that our young people bring to the congregation. And I am hoping that this year that will continue to be so. And I'm hoping for more and more and more young people to join us this year.
Well, we were thrilled to be part of the Fisher Cottage St. Lawrence River Grindstone Island experience. The water that we are going to pour in here represents to us our friends and family and the ties that we hope will just grow and strengthen over the year even more. We have water from Grindstone Island, Bay Head, New Jersey, and Rehoboth Beach, where we had our second family reunion with the Kellys. The last one was 25 years ago. So 26 people, all the brothers and sisters and all the kids came, even as far away as Seattle, Washington.
And our wish for you guys, as individuals, I want you all to have better, more enhanced experiences at home and here with the fellowship.
This is water from the Atlantic Ocean, which we were very happy to get to. We didn't think we would this year because Ed doesn't drive long distances, but we had a wonderful chauffeur. My son took us. And from the wonderful treasures that we have right here in our backyard, Falls Township Community Park, and the Delaware River in Bristol. And my hope is that I will continue to find my happy spiritual home here and be nurtured by everyone as I have been for over 3 decades.
One final thing, I've been invited to be a permanent member of my son's group. It's a trio, and I'll be playing drums with him, with he playing guitar and singing, and his companion. So it's a real nice treat for me.
Hi, I'm John. I'm Amy's husband and Ben and Eli's dad. I brought this bottle that I found in Maine, and it kind of, the place that Ben worked at this past summer had these little bottles set up so that you could take some water with you. So when it came time to, like, we're leaving and we're like remembering that we wanted to bring some water, they had put them away. So what I found instead was someone had left behind a water bottle that like was just going to be litter. So I'm bringing I guess serendipity. I guess like I needed a bottle, someone else forgot to throw it away. And so I'll throw that in there. There we go. All right.
This is tap water from the house where me and Ben stayed in Ferry Beach.
Hello. We went to a wedding in Nashville. It was supposed to be outside, and it wasn't very good. There was a lot of water there, a lot of rain. And we could fill that bucket up in an hour. There was a lot of rain. But the good thing about it is that we met up with our family. Our son, Sam, officiated at the wedding. He paid $50 to somebody. And we had a ball in Nashville. They also have a lot of water in Nashville. It's called beer.
This water's from the Gulf of Mexico and from Ickesburg in Perry County, Pennsylvania, where I spent a lot of my summer.
And our hope for all of us is peace, hope, and serenity.
And more help with the building fund.
Thanks. I'm Mary Rogers. I don't know if we're supposed to say her name or not, but I think it helps. I know as most of you know, you haven't seen me around that much lately because I thought I was going to move. It turns out I am not, and so you will see more of me than you have lately. But my offspring have all moved quite a long time ago away from me, and we hardly see each other, and we haven't been together for 10 years. And my daughter from Florida, son and his wife from California, daughter from West Virginia, daughter from near Pittsburgh, and I are going to meet up near State College, which is not too far from my Pittsburgh daughter's house. She has rheumatoid arthritis, and it's difficult for her to get around, so we're going up to see her. So this is wonderful for the first time in 10 years to see my offspring and my family, and I know we're just going to have a ball. And I wish us all well in producing a home, a future home for us. We need it, and let's all work hard for it. And
your water. Although I'm not pouring from the bucket, this water symbolizes the drops that for me is a symbol of the individuals here and what can happen together when you all jump in that bucket. Unitarian Universalism is not bound by any dogma or creed, which allows us to remain open to continuous revelations, both through personal experience and through scientific discovery. We are always relentlessly called to engage with our surroundings, our own assumptions, our own foundation, and be willing to adjust and learn, to respond creatively and with integrity. Like underground springs that warm and find their way to the surface, we, Unitarian Universalists, called by our sixth principle, bubble up and flow out into the borders and thresholds of diverse communities, answering the call to support peace, liberty, and justice for all. We were early embracers of feminism and of reimagining the role of women in our congregations. We have engaged with the expanding definitions and expressions of sexuality and gender. We continue to struggle with issues of oppression and racism that are embedded in our lives and in our institutions. And so, on this Water Communion Day, as you reflect on the water that you have been present to, I call on your understanding, your knowing that water is the human equalizer, and also to remember those who have no clean, safe water to drink. Bring to mind the monsoon rains that our UU partners in the Philippines and India know, or the rivers and valleys in Transylvania and Lake Victoria to UUs in Kenya and Uganda. Keep the well-being and the possibility for change in their lives and the water that they are present to. We must remain open to learning that concepts like goodness, truth, and beauty have different expressions depending on one's cultural and experience. And understand that the source and the spirit of life is known by many names and still remains nameless in mystery. We are a living tradition that changes, one that is an endless waterfall of spiritual learning, growth, and transformation, waiting to fill us up and spill over into our communities and into the larger world. However, we cannot become complacent, resting on our laurels and past accomplishments. Our faith communities must be intentional about being learning communities, communities that enable us to probe and question our assumptions about ourselves and those around us, around questions big and small. Now, I believe that our continuous revelation calls us to radical hospitality and compassion. Moreover, it invites and includes all voices, especially those that have been at the margins. Because our creative interchange that allows us to reach toward our transcendent ideals is enriched by diversity. We must keep open minds and open hearts that respect the personal experiences and ideals of others. Because at one time or another, we have all been the other. Something magical occurs when people are able to contribute and collaborate with their diverse and inspired gifts with a high level of freedom directed toward a common goal. From the wisdom of the Tao, Lao Tzu reminds us that there is nothing in the world more submissive and weaker than water. Yet, for attacking that which is hard and strong, nothing can surpass it. Collectively, as a congregation, let us be strong like the water and attack the hard issues. The challenge is to keep the creative energy flowing, making sure that we don't become polarized and allow today's innovation to become tomorrow's entrenched tradition. After all, we are the living tradition. From my heart to yours, may it be so.